Can you get just as jacked spending $10 a day versus $10,000 a day? It's a good question. Back when I was competing in bodybuilding, I had to build my physique on a strict budget. But plenty of pro athletes and celebrities swear that their expensive, luxurious routines are the key to their physiques.
LeBron spent $1 million on his body a year.
$1 million on his body?
So in this video, I'm running a 2-day experiment. On Monday, I'll have just $10 for the entire day to cover all my meals and training costs. On that day, I'll be putting my best low-cost fitness tips to use. Then on Tuesday, I'll have $10,000 to spend on the most luxurious fitness protocols money can buy. On that day, I'll be hiring my own Michelin-trained celebrity chef, a world-class hypertrophy coach, and trying some experimental recovery techniques. And by the end of the video, you'll know exactly what's worth spending your money on and what isn't. Okay, so for my $10 budget day, I'm having 4 meals, and I want each meal to cost around $2. For my breakfast, I'm doing a low-cost, anabolic peanut butter protein smoothie. This whole thing only cost me $1.50, and it has some really solid macros with 48 grams of protein. The reason it's so cheap is that milk and whey protein are some of the cheapest sources of high-quality protein. In prep for this day, I went to Walmart and made a list of high-protein foods ranked from cheapest to most expensive. So the cheapest source of protein I could find is actually lentils. You can get 40 grams of protein from lentils for just 66 cents. The second cheapest source of protein is milk. You can get 40 grams of protein from milk for just 81 cents. The third cheapest source of protein is chicken breast, offering 40 grams of protein for $1.07. Protein powder comes in at the number 6 spot, but keep in mind that some of the sources on my list are a little too high in calories, so if you're cutting, I'd stick to the lower calorie sources highlighted in green. I made another list for carbs, and the top 3 cheapest foods were white rice, brown rice, and oats. And bananas are the cheapest fruit. For healthy fats, the 2 cheapest options are sunflower seeds and peanut butter. Most nuts are pretty affordable too. So now it should make sense why I picked milk, peanut butter, whey protein, a banana, and some oats for our low-cost anabolic peanut butter protein smoothie. And since this cost $1.50, that leaves us with $8.50 left for the rest of the day. And remember, that needs to cover 3 more meals, any gym costs, and supplements. Speaking of which, I also took some basic supplements with my breakfast. 5 grams of creatine only cost me 15 cents, and this multivitamin only cost me 5 cents. Creatine is awesome because it's one of the most effective supplements, and it's also one of the cheapest supplements. If you buy creatine in bulk, you can get it super cheap. This only costs 15 cents. You probably don't need a multivitamin as long as you eat a generally healthy diet, but I do still take one just to make sure I'm covered. Okay, meal 2 is my pre-workout meal. And for this meal, I'm doing a high-protein chicken wrap. It's easy to prep the chicken in bulk. The wrap should only take you a couple minutes to put together. You can also prep it the night before and take it to work with you. Once again, I went for some of the cheapest foods on my lists. Chicken breast and brown rice with some spinach, cheese, salsa, sour cream, and of course, 1 large whole wheat tortilla. This whole wrap cost me $2.01, and that leaves us with $6.29 left for the rest of the day. About 30 minutes before training, I'll have some kind of pre-workout caffeine. You can get a tub of a standard pre-workout supplement for about $30, which comes out to 50 cents per scoop. Or you can have a cup of coffee for about 25 cents per serving, so about half the price. A new study found that caffeine on its own was just as effective as a multi-ingredient pre-workout supplement. That means if you're on a budget, simple coffee might be your best option. Caffeine tablets are also super cheap. Each pill only costs about 5 cents. So before my workout today, I'll just have this cup of coffee. For training on a budget, there are gyms in the US and Canada that only cost $10 per month or 33 cents per day. In the US, you have Planet Fitness, Crunch Fitness, and 24-Hour Fitness. In Canada, you have Fit for Less and Planet Fitness. You could also work out effectively from home. A set of workout bands costs $40 and a pull-up bar costs $30. So for your first year of lifting, that would mean a workout from home would cost you about 19 cents a day. I personally don't like bands quite as much as free weights or machines, but they are cheaper and can still get the job done, especially if you're a beginner. I'd personally rather train at a gym with more options though, so I'm gonna hit my leg day at a Fit for Less. If you are trying to get a quick workout in, you don't have to do a ton of sets. You can get in and out in 45 minutes and get a huge hypertrophy stimulus. Pick 1 or 2 exercises per muscle, do 1 or 2 sets for each of those exercises, push those sets all the way to failure, and you can get an amazing workout in a short period of time if you do that. I had a great leg workout, and I definitely don't think you need a super expensive gym membership to make amazing gains. This workout only cost me 33 cents, which means I have $5.71 left for the rest of the day. Let's go back home and get in a post-workout meal. So for my post-workout meal, I'm doing a simple turkey and veggie stir fry. And for your post-workout nutrition, you're really not in any rush. So it's totally fine if you come home and have a solid whole food meal about an hour after training. This whole meal cost me $2.83. This is my most expensive meal of the day, but also probably the most nutritious. For this meal, I just fried up some lean ground turkey and mixed frozen vegetables with soy sauce, brown rice, and an egg. You may have noticed that on my carbs list, veggies all look very expensive. But that's mainly because you need to eat so much of them to get a full serving of carbs in. A hack for knocking the price down is to buy them canned or frozen. Frozen veggies are sometimes even more nutritious than fresh veggies, especially if the fresh veggies have been sitting on the shelf or sitting in transport for a while. For the cost, this is an amazing, nutrient-dense post-workout meal with 46 grams of protein and some solid macros. By the way, I'm tracking all my meals for the day in MacroFactor. MacroFactor costs $5.99 a month if you go for the annual membership, so that comes out to about 20 cents per day. I'm a part owner of MacroFactor, so I may be a bit biased, but I really do think it's the best nutrition app on the market. A nutrition coach can cost you $200 or $300 per month. MacroFactor costs a tiny fraction of that, and it does actually coach you. The app will adjust your calories up or down over time as your metabolism adapts, just like a coach would. It also has the fastest food logger on the planet, and we've done experiments to test this. We'll also never serve you ads or sell your data, and it's still cheaper than MyFitnessPal Premium. We have amazing reviews all over the internet and a motivated community of users. So I'll put a link to a free trial in the description box down below if you'd like to try it out for yourself. Just use code Jeff when you download, and you'll get 2 weeks for free. So again, my post-workout meal cost me $2.83, which means I only have $2.68 left for the rest of the evening. All right, it's 8 p.m. and this is my last meal before bed. High-protein peanut butter dip with apple slices for dipping. I made the dip with Greek yogurt, peanut butter, and honey, and then on the side, I've got the apple slices with a pinch of cinnamon, and then a side of sunflower seeds. These are a great healthy snack before bed, and remember, they are the very cheapest source of good fats tied with peanut butter. This whole meal cost me $1.60, meaning that I managed to fit this entire day of fitness in under budget at just $8.92. Tomorrow, I'm gonna 1,000x my budget, and by the end of the day, we'll see if I think having $10,000 would help me get more jacked, or if $10 is just as good. See you in the morning. All right, I'm starting my $10,000 luxury day with something really freaky. This is a sensory deprivation float tank, and it's my first time ever trying one. The way it works is the water has a super high concentration of salt, so your body feels completely weightless. The water is also set to skin temperature, and the pod is dark and soundproof. This sensory deprivation is supposed to help your muscles and your brain completely relax. And although it was really trippy at first, after about 15 minutes, I could feel my body completely relax. And from my N=1 experience, I can totally see how it would help me with recovery. It also wasn't as expensive as I expected, so after the float, I've still got $9,926 left over. With that high of a budget, I decided to hire my own personal chef. But again, not just any chef. I got a Michelin-trained, 11-time world record-breaking cook from Top Chef Canada in my kitchen, prepping my breakfast right now. He's gonna be here cooking for 5 hours, which at $500 per hour is gonna run me a whopping $2,500. I hope it's worth it.
Do you know what's the key to not crying when you're cutting onions?
Toughen up, man up.
Always. That's a very gym bro thing to say.
What is
Sharp
it?
knife is the key.
A sharper knife?
Yeah.
Interesting.
When you have a sharp knife, you don't cry.
I'm taking this. For breakfast, Wallace made me oyakadon, which is pretty much the Japanese version of a bro meal. It's basically just chicken, eggs, and rice, but Japanese style.
Go straight down, grab like some eggs, some chicken, some onions, and then the rice.
Okay.
Grab some of this little like topping stuff up top.
That is super good. Wow, amazing. Steph, you want to try? So fresh.
It's a great way to start the day.
So good. And this experience was really cool. Wallace just told me to send him the macros I wanted for each meal, and he said he'd surprise me with the dish. All the ingredients for the breakfast actually only cost $6.46. So if you cook it yourself, it's definitely affordable. It also has great macros with 46 grams of protein. I'll post the full recipe in the description. And even though today is the high budget day, I still keep it pretty minimal with the supplements. So with my breakfast, I have a multivitamin with ashwagandha, fish oil capsules, 5 grams of creatine monohydrate, and I do them in pills just for convenience, and vitamin D. And this is the cost of those supplements, so I'll add that to the daily total. For my pre-workout meal, Wallace made me an amazing seafood risotto with lobster, scallops, and shrimp with a high-protein rice plus some truffled caviar.
And the best part about it, there's enough salt in here, so you're gonna get a good pump in the gym.
This was legitimately one of the best meals I've ever had. If you noticed, lobster tail was actually the most expensive protein source on my list, so all the food ingredients in this meal cost me $18.62. And as much as I wanted to, I couldn't blow the whole budget on Wallace's cooking, so I gave him a copy of the Muscle Ladder, he gave me a copy of his Guinness Book of World Records, and I told him I'd handle the last 2 meals myself. And I'll link his Instagram and YouTube in the description box. After the pre-workout meal, I've still got $7,400.93 left for the rest of the day. Now, for my pre-workout supplements, this time I figured I'd go to a local supplement shop and ask for their most expensive pre-workout. I want you to tell me what your most expensive pre-workout is.
It's the Mammoth Pump.
Mammoth Pump. Okay. Turns out it's Mammoth Pump High Intensity Pre-Workout, which was $65.99, which comes out to 87 cents per scoop. This time for my back workout, I hired a personal trainer. But again, this is the $10,000 budget day, so I didn't hire just any personal trainer. This is Joe Bennett, the OG hypertrophy coach. He's trained 6-time classic Mr. Olympia champ Chris Bumstead, 7-time 212 champ Flex Lewis, 2-time 212 champ Sean Clarita, Dana Lynn Bailey, and Hollywood celebrities like Dave Bautista. And he's gonna take me through my back workout for today. What's your hourly rate?
$700.
Is it?
Yeah.
We did a 5-exercise back workout, a lat-focused cable row, pull-ups, deadlifts, a chest-supported machine row, and an incline cable pullover. And Joe gave me some cues for each movement that I honestly hadn't tried before. On the lat-focused cable row, he told me to not only think about driving my elbows down, which I already do, but also to keep them more tucked in. I found I'm able to feel my lats in a stretched position really well, but I haven't in the shortened position very well at all. That little cue of just tucking the elbows in more helped a lot. That's nice. On the pull-ups, he helped me engage my lats better by slowing down toward the bottom in the stretch and keeping my elbows a little more tucked in. I had this tendency to really let them flare out.
Just focus on making sure you might have to actively feel like you're keeping your elbows in.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm cooked.
That was good.
Makes it a lot harder when you tuck the elbows in, I'll tell you that. For the deadlifts, we basically did a Romanian deadlift, but made it more back-focused by allowing for a little more knee bend and then extending the range of motion until my back was parallel with the floor. It was kind of a hybrid between a standard conventional deadlift and a Romanian deadlift, and it absolutely lit my spinal erectors up. For the chest-supported row, he also used a cue I'd somehow honestly never tried before, and it was simply to just keep my chest up throughout the entire row. Historically, I've always thought that I'd get a better stretch by allowing my upper back to round forward over the pad, but as Joe said, that really only stretches the erectors more, and it takes some of the slack out of the mid-traps. So by keeping my chest up, I was able to connect with my mid-back much better, and even though it sounds counterintuitive, I was able to get a better stretch in that mid-back area specifically by not rounding forward. On the very last set, we did an intensity technique to extend the set, which I'll let Joe explain.
And you're gonna intentionally extend up. And then let it round back down, and you're gonna round over the top. So you can round the position I was having you avoid before, we're gonna round and do it. And then we're gonna extend.
Oh, nice.
And then we're gonna round over the top. Extend. Last one, Jeff, come on. Stretch. Squeeze. Yep.
Oh, buddy. If you haven't tried this before, I definitely recommend it. It'll smash your spinal erectors. For the last exercise, we set up the incline bench for cable lat pullovers, which was nice and stable, and Joe got me to really focus on letting my shoulder blades lift at the top and then pulling down and sweeping through. And I actually worked with Joe for 3 hours. It wasn't just training. He also helped me mobilize my shoulders and gave me some very helpful posing tips as well. So the entire session ran me $2,100, leaving me with still $5,300.06 for the rest of the evening. Okay, for my post-workout meal, I'm just gonna order something on DoorDash. So I basically need something around 500 to 600 calories, 35 to 40 grams of protein. So what I usually get is a chicken pita. This post-workout chicken pita cost me $34.47. $15.23 for the meal itself, $4.24 for the delivery fee, and $15 for the tip. I think the main benefit of this slightly more expensive delivery meal is really just convenience. It's not like this pita is gonna offer me any better gains than the significantly cheaper post-workout meal I had yesterday. And before the last meal of the day, I figured since I still have a lot of money left, I'd pay a visit to the most luxurious spa in the city. they did up a custom recovery package just for me, which included deep tissue massage, focusing on my back and legs, and then a facial with some facial massage techniques I've never seen before. And of course, while the spa does offer more affordable options, for the custom, top-notch Jeff Nippard luxury package, it ran me another $1,000. After that, it was time for meal 4, and for that, I'm having this salmon meal from a local meal prep service. This is actually something I use quite often for convenience. It's not super expensive, but it is more costly than if you were to buy the individual items in bulk and prep it yourself. So this is salmon with rice, broccoli, mushrooms, and onions, and this meal cost me $10.44, which means I'm still about $4,000 under budget. I know this is a cop-out, but I really don't want to blow the money on a bunch of random recovery hacks that just don't have enough science to justify their price tag. So instead, I'm gonna run back to the gym and give the remaining money to a random subscriber. Want to answer one question for the chance to win a mystery prize?
Of course I will. Yeah.
All right, let's go do it over here. Are you subscribed to Jeff Nippard on YouTube?
Of course I am.
You are? Let's see.
I'm subscribed.
He is subscribed. Confirm it.
I'm subscribed.
Ready for your prize?
Ready for my prize.
$4,000 US.
Holy sh! You kidding me?
That's what you get, bro.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Of course, man. Holy sh! Man.
So, can you get just as jacked spending $10 a day versus $10,000 a day? Well, let's see. Having a professional chef cook my meals was awesome. I think the biggest benefit there was that my macro-friendly meals just tasted so much better, which would make the dieting process feel easier. With that said, I actually still think you'd probably make the same gains doing the budget meals as the luxury meals, assuming the macros were the same. As for the personal trainer, Joe did exceed my expectations in terms of helping me lock in better and connect with the target muscles. It's hard to quantify how much of a difference training with him over the long term would make on my gains, but this recent study did show that people who had a personal trainer saw significantly more muscle growth than people who didn't. So I do feel like having someone there to work with you specifically and to motivate you probably would lead to better gains. That said, I suspect that as long as you can push yourself hard on your own, that difference probably would start to level off over time. There's so much good information online now that you can easily learn the basics for free. So I would say having a personal trainer is definitely a luxury, but not a necessity. The other recovery techniques definitely help me relax, and I do think they can help with recovery, but I still view them as supplementary, not mandatory. Keep in mind, research shows that you can get recovery benefits at no cost by going for a walk outside, and that's free. Sleeping is also free, and probably the single best thing you can do for recovery. Training hard, training smart, and eating the right number of calories and protein for your goals are the most important things for getting fit. So I definitely think fitness is something anyone can work toward. And your approach doesn't need to be perfect to be effective. If you want to get going on whatever fitness goal you have for yourself in 2025, whether that's losing fat, building muscle, gaining strength, or some combination, I'd recommend downloading Macro Factor. We have over 250,000 active users. So this isn't just another influencer app. We have a huge team dedicated to making the app as good as possible, and we're constantly rolling out new features. So if you'd like to try it out for yourself, I'll put a link to a 2-week free trial in the description box down below. All you have to do is use code Jeff when you download the app, and that'll get you 2 weeks for free. All right, that's it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all here in the next one.